So, welcome everyone to another episode of Taking Up Space on Michelle A. Mayer podcast. And my dog would start off. Hold on 1 second. Sit. Welcome everyone to another episode of Taking Up Space on Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward, y'all. Today's no different. Today's conversation, I'm always looking to be solution based. I don't like to bring things to the forefront that I don't have a positive ideology on, right? Like whether they are my own personal situationals that I got going on in my life, could be struggles, could be testimonies, whichever, or things that I see in the media, on social media that are going on amongst the people. If I speak to it, I'm going to lead with, the situation, and then I'm going to pose you with a solution or a remedy, something that can maybe solve the problem, maybe give people a way of viewing it in another mindset. So today I wanted to speak to, yesterday I saw on social media a woman in Jacksonville, Florida. Y'all, did y'all see that? The Jacksonville, Florida woman having the altercation with the police officer at the school. Well, I guess the woman had went to a school. She was a black woman, African-American woman. She had went to a school. I don't know if she was going to go pick up a child or drop a child off, or I don't really know why she was there, but she had went to a school in Jacksonville, and while there, she's parked her car somewhere, and I don't know if she was illegally parked or what the situation was, but it caught the attention of law enforcement. It was a police officer at the school, and they approached her about her car being parked. And she, from what I saw in the video, the woman was speaking to the officer, and she's saying, no, I was not driving the car. I was in the passenger seat. The driver went into the school, and she's trying to move forward, and she's like, I don't want any problems with you, please, I don't want any problems. And you see that there's maybe her child with her, and they're communicating the same thing. Now, I'm not here to be the judge and jury of this woman and to say she's innocent and all of this kind of stuff. I'm giving you the backdrop of what happened so that I can elaborate on a greater conversation, okay? Because this situation has brought this greater level of relevancy forward to me, and I need to communicate it to you. So she's telling the officer that it wasn't her, and that she doesn't want to have any problems with the officer. It wasn't her, what have you. And the officer, the camera then skips. I guess they stopped it, and then it picks back up with her leaning against the police car and her arms behind her back, and her head like smashed against the car. And then she starts talking about her arm is hurting, and all of these different things. And it escalated from her arm hurting and she, I guess, trying to manage her way out from the grips of the officer having her arm, to him then aggressively going through this whole situation of trying to handle her. And then she ends up getting to a breaking point where she looks like she's trying to defend herself. Now, like I said, I'm not here to say that this woman was right or this woman was wrong. I'm just going off of what I saw in the video. Neither am I putting myself in a place to say that the police officer is racist. I don't know that he's racist. I don't know his history. This may not have had anything to do with race. But one thing I can say that it has to do with is the dynamic between men and women. That's all I got on this, is the dynamic between men and women. I had it on my social media, and then I said, because yesterday I was, had my own little things that I was dealing with, and I was trying to invoke a positive energy because I'm dealing with my own set of stuff. And I was like, I don't really want to have that energy on my page. Just the sight of it was so violent that I had to go back and take it down, y'all. And that's what I want to speak to today. I don't want to speak to any kind of racial connotations because it may not have been racial. It may have. I don't know. I don't know that officer. All I know is there were two people involved, a man and a woman. And the way that the man handled this woman, this is a mother, a woman. This is a law enforcement officer. He's taken an oath to protect and serve. He has all sorts of protection devices on him. He's been trained professionally to protect himself and to defend himself. And this is the best he could do with this woman. And my question is not really to focus on this woman, but just in general. Many of us, there are some of us, I can't say many of us, have had experiences in life defending ourselves that have turned into monumental situations just in the defense of ourselves. I spoke to this day before yesterday when I posted on my Instagram page about the mothers and the daughters being terrorized. We're in a pivotal time, y'all. These are pivotal times, and everybody has a seat. I spoke also to last week about Job. And why I believe God led Job on the journey that Job went on by being tested by Satan. God led Job on that journey, y'all, because Job was indifferent in a time when Job should not have been indifferent. You see, God led all of those people, all of you, all of the roles that you have in this life. Nobody got those roles for you but God. If God didn't want those doors open for you, friend, they would never have opened for you. I don't care who you knew. I don't care what type of a family dynamic you come from. I don't care what type of education, background you have. Don't you know that there are people less qualified than you doing that same thing you're doing? It doesn't matter about any of that. It's God that blesses you. It is God that gives you the gift. Babylon absolutely creates the stage for your gifts to be displayed upon. Babylon creates the structures and the systems in which you can utilize your various gifts to help build up Babylon. But even Babylon must bow to God. All of this is God's stuff. And when we see Jethro and Job come before Pharaoh, we're looking at all these people God has put in position. All of them, God put in position. Not one of them would be put in position had it not been for God. I spoke to this yesterday, Book of Jasher, chapter 79, verse 50. He surely created you in your mother's womb. He's talking to Pharaoh. He surely created you in your mother's womb and put into you breath of life and reared you and placed you on your royal throne of Egypt. This is a Moses coming before Pharaoh when they are about to have this war in spirit where they throw their rod down and Pharaoh throws, or Balaam throws his rod down, and they go to war. And Moses is telling Pharaoh, the mightiest man in the world, it is God that put you on this throne, friend. Whether you know of him or not, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to make himself known to you. This is a God that does not like to be seen, friend. The only person in the Bible that ever saw God was Moses. And I spoke to that yesterday in my Bible commentary about how the children, how God is speaking to Miriam and Aaron because they're jealous and they're challenging Moses' leadership. And he says, you've never seen me face to face, but Moses has. And what gave you the thought to speak against Moses, knowing how close I am to Moses. When we see Jethro and when we see Job going before Pharaoh, we're seeing three people all put in position by God. We're seeing something that was planned probably at their birth become materialized for a greater thing to be birthed from. Yet Job does not live up to his expectation in that moment, regardless of his reasoning behind it. Job is asked, what do we do about these children? What do you say we do, Job? God has allowed these two people to be Pharaoh's confidants, priests, the only people Pharaoh will reach out to for decisions as it relates to his kingdom. And at this point, God has these children in Pharaoh's kingdom. And God has Job and Jethro there to be his counselors, positioned on purpose. Yet they don't know it. They think they're just lucky. They think they're just great and they're there because they are so great. They're so great and people like them and they're socially successful and they're secure. And they're not going to let anything challenge their position because there's nothing else to default to if you lose it. You got to go back to the farm. And now Pharaoh is asking them the question of their life, and they don't even know it. They're being tested. This is the test of their life, and they don't even know it. This is a monumental time where they can either live up to their expectation or default further down into the cycle of karma process. What we will find is Jethro will live to his expectation. He will do what is right to do. He will speak the truth of his heart. He will speak what his heart is telling him to do. He tells Pharaoh, these people are blessed. We all know what the prophecies have been on these people. We've seen this all along. The best I believe we should do is to let these people leave this place and go on and get their own area. And we just reconstruct our system. We rebuild. But we can't do anything to these people. And then Jethro saying such things to Pharaoh, it angered Pharaoh. Because now Pharaoh can't blame his decision that he wants to do, the wickedness that he wants to do, on anybody. He can't say, okay, Jethro told me to do it, I'm going to blame it on Jethro. He's not able to do that. And because of that, he kicks Jethro out. Tells Jethro he has to leave the kingdom. Pack up his stuff and leave. And Jethro leaves. But God would know this already. You see, Jethro wouldn't know it. He would be distraught that he's leaving. He would see it as a loss. And he would go back to his house, his village in Midian, and he would rebuild from there. Not knowing that years later, Moses would come to Jethro and make Jethro's name great again. Jethro would not suffer by going back to Midian. Jethro would be abundant. He would have his daughters, and he would have cattle. He would have enough to house Moses. He would still have a strong name. He just wouldn't have a seat in Egypt because God didn't have it in the plan for Jethro to be in Egypt. Jethro needed to be in Egypt for a season to play a role. And then Jethro would need to be repositioned so that he could play a greater role. And because he acted off of what was in his heart to do, he did the right thing by himself. He honored what God had spoken over him at his birth. Yet Job, after Jethro gets kicked out, Job is sitting right there listening to all of this. Job now is like, okay, I don't know what to do now. Pharaoh says, what do you say we should do, Job? Job says to Pharaoh, Pharaoh said, and what is your advice respecting the Hebrews? Book of Jasher, chapter 67, verse 42. And the king said to Job the Uzite, what do you say, Job? What is your advice respecting the Hebrews? So Job said to the king, behold, all the inhabitants of the land are in your power. Let the king do as it seems good in his eyes. That's what he says. And because Job did not stand for anything, Job took the middle route. Job didn't want to offend this Pharaoh, and Job didn't want to offend God. So he says, do whatever you want to do. I'm not in it. My name is Wes. I'm not in this mess. That's what Job is saying. And because of that, God will have Job go through a greater test. Job will go through a test where he would lose everything. He will be proven to the point that it was no doubt, and he would learn a lesson. Where does self-love come into play when you are being challenged by people that feel as though they are in authority? Where does self-love rest? Where does each man and woman being sovereign come into play? Because at birth, we are sovereign beings. God made it that way. This is the crown in which is upon each and every one of our heads. Only we can give away our sovereignty. God has endowed it upon each and every one of us. Yet, when we find ourselves in situations with people that come upon you to overstep boundaries with you intentionally, using their authority within the systems of the world as protectants, buffers, to insulate them from you protecting yourself against them. Where is the individual's power? Where are my rights? Anything I do to protect myself when I feel as if I'm being attacked against someone that has came into a role, took a job, and that can use any and everything they deem necessary against me to mirror a situation. So now I look like I am the aggressor. Any little thing I do to protect myself is magnified and I look like the aggressor when in all actuality, I'm just over here doing my thing. And I'm feeling attacked. And I'm saying, no, I don't want to, please get away. I don't want to be attacked. Don't attack me. You don't have the right to attack me like this. When and where? When is self-love a crime, y'all? When is self-love a crime? What are the demarcation points? Because we know what legally is a crime, but it's hard to really trace self-love nowadays. It's hard to trace self-love nowadays. It can become very convoluted. Self-love can be manipulated into looking as if you are instigating, when really you're just showing self-love. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself and your children. I've never seen a time, I don't know what else to say, but, when it comes to women and children, I just feel like it should be another level of concern. God did not set it up for Adam to attack Eve. Friend, I'm old school. 52 in November. I come from an era where men protected women. There was honor for women. Your grandmothers, your aunties, your mother, your sister, you didn't let people come and just handle them. I don't care if you're European, I don't care if you're Hispanic, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care if you're African, I don't care if you're African American, I don't care if you're American Indian, I don't care what you are. There was regard for women. And I don't know, but I'm just seeing the decline of things. And I'm using this podcast not to feed into the negativity. Because like I said, I use my voice to bring things to attention so that we can start thinking of these things. Because a lot of things happen and we just sweep them under the rug and act like they never happened. And then they just kind of grow. You keep sweeping stuff under the rug and now you got a whole pile. God created Adam as the protector of all things of her. I don't care where you look in the world, that's how it is. Everything you see that has been created came from a she. Every single thing. When you look at this matrix that we live in today, I saw a brother say, men can do without women, but women can't do without men. And then they were saying, well, how could that be? And he said, well, if your car breaks down, you can't fix your car. If your plumbing go out in your house, you can't fix your plumbing. If your stove breaks, you can't fix your stove. If you need brakes on your car, you can't fix your brakes. And I thought that's very true. But that's not the original way of things. Those are things that have been created because of the matrix, the system that men have created, and they're wonderful things. It's a man's world at this point. Men have created these systems. Women didn't create this system. This is a man system. But when you go and you pull back the layers of this matrix and you get to the foundation that the matrix overlays, when you get to what's real, because all these systems of the world are not real. They're all imaginations. They're all stuff that men created. Man-made stuff. But what's real? The stars, the plants, the animals, all of nature, the ethereal, all of this is she. It is birthed of her. And Adam was to manage the garden. Adam was to manage all of her stuff because it being her stuff is his stuff too. She takes that which he brings and she converts it into something else and births more of something of that thing or different. But he brings. And then when it's birthed, he manages and he protects. When did we get to this? Where she cannot even depend on him to protect. She's afraid of him. All he has is fear. He comes with fear to her. That's his only angle that he can, in regards to manipulating her. And that's what I mean. Not in just in his existence with her. His existence to her is love. These two people were to be in total unison with one another, completely trusting. I know for a fact you would never betray me. I know for a fact if something came upon us that you will defend it with everything you have. This was the original way. How did we get to a place where we see people interacting like I saw this woman and this man in Florida, Jacksonville? How did it get like that? Openly, violent, no regard, don't care. Just no care in the world. The only way you handle a person like that is if you don't care. It goes beyond racial lines. You don't see your mother in that woman. You don't see your aunt. You don't see your sister. If you have children, you don't see your daughter. And the way that we see and interact with one another in life in general, when we see injustices happening amongst one another, you don't see the wrongdoing. And then when we look at it, and I saw the police captain come, and he's saying, well, he didn't do anything wrong, and she had traffic offenses and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, how did we get to this? And it's all just like it's spoke to in the Bible. What Jesus went through with the Pharisees, what the children went through all throughout their walks. Everybody looking for a seat. Everybody wants a seat at the table. And they don't care what they got to go through to be able to sit at the table. I just want a seat. I don't care. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I just want a seat here. It's shameful. It is. It's eye-opening, and it's really unfortunate. And it reinforces the fact that many of us are disconnected from God, y'all. We can sit up and talk all this stuff, but the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the activity. How do you interact? Do you search for the truth, or do you just believe the lie so that you can justify your inactivity? Like I said, I don't know what happened with this woman. I don't know if she was wrong. I don't know if the thing says she bit him. I don't know if she bit him or not. But the way she was being handled, could you be mad at her? She was afraid. She's afraid. And I know many of us look at people and we kind of pigeonhole them by culture and things like that. And in the African American culture, a lot of times the things that we see on social media, we do kind of promote violence in the music and this and that. And I can understand in a sense how other nationalities can look and say, well, this is the type of people that they are based upon what they do. But even still, friend, that does not mean that everybody does not live like that. Everybody does not have violent interactions because of, the type of music that the group or the ethnic group has made popular. Let's just say that, because there's much within the African American community that is does not condone violence, but there are some portions of the music that does. But even if you were to take the approach that the officer might have felt fearful for his safety because of this woman, which I just have a hard time believing. The excessiveness of it, the throwing her down. Come on, y'all. I just feel like, and not to really berate and to continue on about the video because it haunted me. I had to take it down from my social media, and it was on my mind this morning while I sat on the sofa. I was tossing it around in my mind thinking, how can I convey this so that it's useful? And I got to cross-reference some of the things that I've experienced just all out violent experiences, all out of showing self-love. Just the crime is self-love. The crime is that you love yourself. And the crime is that you try to find ways to defend yourself. And in the defense of yourself, any and everything is used against you. And there's no one that comes to assist. You got all these onlookers. Everybody got their phone out. That's a shame. It was a shame, y'all. I couldn't help but just, I was like, I empathize with her. The shamefulness of it. Could you imagine had that been your mother, your sister, your aunt, your grandmother? Could you imagine that being you, the woman, being paraded in the parking lot like that? And no one is able to help you. There's not one person that can come to your defense and say, enough of this. No one with enough authority to add some order to this chaos. And that's the reason why, I wanted to bring this to light as to this is not the way that God created it. Regardless to ethnicity background, racial, cultural backgrounds, regardless to any of that, just from a gender perspective, God did not create the Adams of the world to attack the Eves. I'm here to tell you, it is a complete contradiction to all that God set up. It's a complete contradiction to it. God established Adam to protect Eve because Eve is valuable, friend. Without Eve, what do you have? She's the mother. It stops. She has no competition. There's not another Eve you can go and create. Without her, there's nothing. When she's corrupted, it's over for you. When you look across the world, I don't care what cultural background you are. I don't care who you are. Russian, Middle Eastern, African, American, Hispanic, I don't care. It is through the vessels, the feminine vessels, that your nations are made strong. And once she is corrupted, it is the fall of your nation, friend. You have nothing else. That's why she must be protected. She is the source of life. She is the fountain. She's the only fountain you have. You do not have another one. There is no replacement of her. God adores her. She is God's beloved friend. I'm here to tell you. And that's why you must honor her and protect her. You don't leave her vulnerable. You leaving her vulnerable shows your ignorance of yourself. It shows hate of your community. I'm here to tell you. We must get back to the fundamentals. And this is not a black and white thing. This is an Adam and an Eve thing. This has nothing to do, I'm not speaking at all to any type of racial component. And if I am, I'm using it as an example that this Adam and Eve thing is not exclusive to any particular ethnicity. It's exclusive to the human race. We're all bound to it. I don't care what background you're from. I don't care what part of the world you come out of. Everybody's bound to this same thing. And we don't just see this dynamic going on in America. There are countries in the world that do not honor women. Do not. countries in the world where that type of behavior has been done openly. So that's why I'm speaking to not limiting it to any particular ethnicity. I'm trying to add some focus on the original way that God established order in this realm. Adam protects all things that pertain to Eve. When I say all things pertaining to Eve, I mean everything, friend. All the fruit of this garden is fruit that she births. She's Gaia. She is Mother Earth. The earth we stand upon is feminine. It gives, it takes, and then it gives, it births. Adam was to subdue everything of hers and to manage it and to protect it. But what happens when Adam attacks all things of her? Then that which she birthed ceases to birth. Drought and famine prevail. When you look at Egypt, Egypt was not always desert. It was a lush, garden-esque area. But because it wasn't managed properly by Adam, it is a prime example of what happens. Dry, desert, famine. So much so it has not rebounded yet. These are the things we must understand. They're vitally important. They are the cornerstones to civilization. Just from what I said about Adam and Eve, the raping of the land, the misuse of what came natural, the natural aspects of things. It depletes the environment, so much so that you get dry desert areas that take much time to regain their fertility. It is the same way when I see or men attacking women, or men in whole in societies allowing the attack of women, and women feeling as if they have to protect themselves. And in them protecting themselves, the attack is even greater. It turns into violence. When she doesn't allow you to mishandle her and she says no, it becomes this fearful, I'm going to do this to you, violent tirade that turns into an attack, an all-out attack. You're going to force it. And we see when it becomes a forceful situation, how nature responds to you forcing yourself upon it. Nothing comes from it. All of the fertile landscape that you once knew is now dry and desert. Not even a lizard can live on it. A lizard can't even find water and nourishment in it. This is my word for y'all today. Like I said, I want to come on and be useful, but I have to bring things to your attention in the essence that they come to me. When does self-love become defiance? What is that demarcation point? And why? Why is self-love defiant? It's okay when I don't say anything. It's okay if I let you mistreat me. But if I ever rise up and say, no, you cannot do that, then I'm being defiant. I get attacked. And then who comes and protects? You know who comes and protects? That which ordained this system all along. There is a method to this madness, y'all. And I'm here to tell you, God has a sweet spot for her. God has a sweet spot for her. You must be able to see it. This is encouragement to women. You must be able to see the sweet spot God has for you. If you can't see it, I'm here to remind you today. When you look at this whole earthly realm, everything terminates from her. Everything. When you look at the earth, all things come forth from her. It is she. It is she that all things are birthed from. When you look in the physical world, and we look at Adam and Eve and then the serpent, they all needed her. She's the vessel. All of them must go through her. You are highly necessary, vitally necessary. You have no competition. There is no other. You are a daughter and an heir to a mighty promised friend, and you know it. You know it without me having to tell it to you. But I want to remind you today that when you feel as if you have no one to protect you, and those that were put in place by God to protect you attack you openly because you say no, that there is a God that loves you immensely, that is overly protective of you, because he knows more than anybody just how necessary you are. You are that vital component from which everything springs from. Without you, there is nothing. Nothing. This God that protects you, this everlasting presence that is always with you, that has never left you, is your protector. And I'm not saying to ignore the Adams. Not at all. We love the Adams. We love them. But I'm here to tell you that your power, your truest essence, your truest level of protection comes from your Creator. You know it. And that with this power, nothing is impossible. All is plausible. And it's all dependent upon the level of your state of mind. You are loved more than you'll ever know. Don't be afraid. Keep going. This is my word for y'all today. And to the men, reevaluate your viewpoint on who she actually is. Use some of my words and the revelations that I have conveyed to you in this podcast to recenter you, regardless to nationality. You are the protectors of her. This is what you were created to do, is to protect all that is birthed from her and her. Her children are your children. Her children are your brothers. Her children are your sisters. Her children are your cousins. You are the uncles. And you are the first line of defense. And in you protecting her, you protect you. This is my word to you today. I love you. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.